Why do you think this is? What is this phenomenon where people are not adapting AI into their business?
Well, I think there's really two reasons that large organizations, let's start with large organizations, are resistant to change, right? You have a whole infrastructure that's set up to de-risk the way that these businesses operate. So when you think about data security or privacy controls or legal, it's very hard at large organizations to implement new processes and new tools. For every new department, it just becomes that much more, of a roadblock to get things going. I think for small businesses, the reality is that we're creatures of habit. And a lot of small business owners are just stuck in what's urgent versus working on what's important. And what's urgent is a highly reactive way of running a business. And if you're just reacting to what's in front of you, then there's going to be no forcing function to truly change. And true seismic change is really what's needed right now. So it's really important for smaller businesses to zoom out and rethink their future and take this opportunity and take advantage of the fact that you can be nimble when you're small to really, reconstruct your business. And for large companies, if you're working at a large company, the best thing you can do is train, become knowledgeable, understand how to deploy these tools, and speak up and be that change agent and the AI expert in your organization. Because even if the whole company doesn't change, if you're known as an AI expert, you can really, at a minimum, future-proof yourself and insulate yourself from what will be, I think, a mass wave of job cuts that are going to come on in the quarters ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm 100% on board with that. If you're not adapting and being, I think, public about your AI usage, that's a big flaw in your personal model. Whether you're an entrepreneur or working within an organization, you need to be one of the people that's facilitating these tools.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so many people think that AI is just having ChatGPT output the latest, recipe for what you want to cook at the dinner table this weekend, and don't take the time to go deeper and really understand its power as an operating system and its power to automate and really transform the companies, communicate with their customers, and operate internally.
Well, one of the things that I'm become kind of fascinated with Chat, I love ChatGPT personally. I'm using it for everything, whether it's plan out my trip or what should I make my wife for, what should I get my wife for Mother's Day, all sorts
I'm sure you also use it to prepare for podcasts, right?
Oh, 100%. 100%. You know my secret. You found out my secret. But one of the things that I have found, and I think businesses are maybe underestimating, is how quickly you're able to train your own AI bots, your own AI agents within your organization. How important is that, being able to quickly and nimbly program and train your own bots? What would be the steps to actually accomplish that?
Yeah, I mean, listen, the only thing that differentiates company A's use of AI and large language models like OpenAI's ChatGPT or Google's Gemini, right? And company B's use of that same technology is data, right? And because data is a differentiator, and there's different types of data. There's data that's unique and bespoke to your company. So that could be customer information, financial information, things that your company uses to power its operations every single day, right? It could be third-party data, and that could be data that you pay for, or it could be data that is free. Like, for example, New York City publishes an open API of traffic, crime, air quality information by city block. So if you are in the real estate business, that's data that you should tap into, that you can empower your residential real estate brokers with to be more knowledgeable in the field, right? So that's information that is third-party data that you can actually get a hand on. And then there's additional first-party data that you can create, whether it's synthetic data or data you can go out and commission. All those things together are essentially ingredients to the overall dish that you're going to be serving either your employees or your customers. So you can't just use the data that ChatGPT has off the shelf, because that's just open web data. It doesn't really necessarily speak to the unique needs of your business or your customers. So getting your arms around that data, structuring it, and feeding to a model, which then can be the foundation for tools that you build, is really a mandate for any company that calls itself AI first or AI enabled.
Yeah, and this is something I've been focusing on with new clients, bringing them in, is really getting clear on who are your clients, who's your avatar, what's your offer, what are your differentiators, what's your unique voice, et cetera.
Yeah.
And leveraging that as a way to program their own and create their own GPT tools within their organization that can be used, everyone from the CEO to the receptionist. One of the things that I have also noticed, and I've been thinking about this the other day, is one of the problems that we have with AI is hallucinations, and maybe it doesn't process all of the data or all of the information that you're inputting. But I think people are maybe kind of sleeping on how quickly this is going to accelerate.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, a lot of people maybe tried to use one of these tools maybe 6 months ago and an output a not so great answer, and they write it off. Or they're like, oh, like it can't output imagery of humans because they have 7 fingers, which may have been the case when it just launched. But the rate of change is such that it doesn't matter where it was 3 to 6 months ago. You have to be assuming that this thing is going to be airtight perfect in 2 to 3 years and acting accordingly versus waiting for it to get perfect, right? You have to move your business to where the puck is going, not where it's been 6 months ago and not even where it is today. And that's definitely a common mistake I see, where you have these misperceptions in terms of its inabilities, but it's based upon historical, data and historical capabilities, which isn't the case today.